Designers and Builders, where design meets construction. We explore groundbreaking trends and talk to the pros reshaping our spaces. For your dream home, workspace, or just great design inspiration, subscribe to Designers and Builders. Hey, welcome to a brand new episode. I'm your host, Steve Larosiliere. Today's guest is Allison Handler from Allison Handler Design. How are you doing, Allison?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. Why don't you tell everybody about your company? Tell us about your background and how'd you get started?
Sure. So we are a full service interior design firm based in Bergen County, New Jersey, right outside of New York City. We've been in business for just about 4 years now, but I have a prior life in the fashion industry. So I started out my career right after college working in the fashion industry. And after about 20 plus years of that, just kind of felt a little burnt out and was ready for a change and kind of organically fell into interior design. Not technically trained, do not know how to do a CAD drawing, do not know how to, any of that. I learned, everything that I do know, in the field and on the job. I have a business degree. So that's kind of been my like secret sauce is like just knowing how to run a business. And obviously having, an aesthetic for interior design. But yeah, that's kind of my background. So I kind of fell into it by, just with friends and family, wanting help. I did a couple of my own homes and it all kind of strangely organically came together and started my business just about 4 years ago, like I said, and was never expecting it to take off the way that it had, but here we are. And it's been a wild ride.
What did you bring over from fashion into interior design?
Yeah, so when I was in the fashion industry, I was head of merchandising. So for people who don't know what that is, the best way I describe merchandising is it's kind of like a blend between, or like you're like a middleman, I guess, in between the sales team and the design team. So you're the one who's kind of filtering the information from the sales team on what is selling, what's working, filtering it to the design team, and then working with them on the creative process and, everything in between. So I learned a lot about you know, managing relationships. I learned a lot about um, kind of, filtering information and how to utilize that to help a business grow. All those, different types of things. I mean, even down to like cost engineering, where, we really loved a certain fabric, but it was too expensive. So we had to figure out, how to get the same look with the, that type of thing. So all of that is easily translatable, into the design industry. And then obviously there's the creative side too. So, and that I've always had, I, like to say that I kind of have a right brain, left brain. So I'm able to kind of tap into both sides of my brain. I can be creative, but I also, understand business. And I think that's obviously really helped make me successful.
That's awesome. What did you have a moment or a project where you were like, you know what? I think I made the right decision going down this path.
I mean, an interesting, it was interesting because it kind of happened during COVID, or like right after COVID is when I really was like, you know what, I'm ready for a change. I don't want to schlep into the city anymore. It's too much. I have two young kids and it was hard. So, but obviously, like, it was such a weird time in everybody's life. And so I, kind of started this as a side hustle and was kind of working full time still, doing this on the side. I started out doing more of like e-design. I had clients, a few clients kind of all over the country, but it was, e-design. It wasn't like hands-on real experience. But I kind of figured out how to make it work for me. I was talking to my husband one day and I was getting ready to go into the city for work. And I was like, I'm so tired. Like, this is just, I'm doing so much right now. Like, I'm burning the candle at both ends. Like, I would go into the city, work my job, come home, take care of my family, and then, do my other job, like my side hustle. Right.
Yeah.
And he was like, you know what? He's like, if you feel like it's the right time, he's like, quit your job and try doing this full time and see how it goes. And I was like, you know what? Like, no, like that's, I'm not, whatever. Thank you for your support. I obviously appreciate that. But like, I don't know. In my mind, I just wasn't ready because like I knew in my mind I didn't want to be like e-design. I wanted to be like a full service interior designer, like hands-on renovations, new construction, all of that stuff, like locally. So in my mind, I told myself, okay, once I get my first local job, I'm going to quit my job. Like once that happens, I don't know when, but whenever it does, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to go into this full time. So that morning, I go into the office. It was a Monday morning, and I'm at the office for about 2 or 3 hours, and I get a phone call. And guess what happened? I
That's
got my
great.
first local job. So I quit my job. Yeah, I quit my job a few weeks later, and here we are, months, years later with a thriving business.
That is wild. That's a great story. Congrats.
Yeah, that's like when you put things out there in
You
the
got you
world.
got to be careful about what you say too, because it would actually come true.
That's very true.
What
That's very true. Yeah.
the work that you do is really, really beautiful and like super high end. Like I can see a lot. I see a lot of details in your work. It looks like there's just like a lot of thought that goes into it, and it feels like it must take a lot of time to match up like what you think is in the client's head with the aesthetic that they're going. Have you started developing like what you think your own style is, and how would you call it?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And I think, every designer, new designer kind of goes through this at the beginning of their, career in design where, kind of what you are drawn to and what your personal style is and what you like, but you're also kind of new and you don't you need to get your feet wet and you kind of take any job that comes your way. So that's definitely how I started out, where it was like any small job, even if it was just like, furnishing one room or redoing a powder room or whatever it is, I would take that job. And it wasn't even, people were at that time were not coming to me because they were like, oh, I want you and I want your style. They were coming to me because they were like, I need a designer, I need help. So obviously I took, anything and everything to get my feet wet and to, understand how this works. But as I started to kind of hone my skills and my aesthetic, I guess, and be exposed to more and more things and really kind of lean into my style, that's when I would say the shift kind of happened where people then started reaching out to me because they wanted me and my aesthetic, which is like obviously the greatest compliment. But I would kind of describe my style as like it's like modern organic, I guess, because I love to be bold. I love, to use, certain bold elements. I love like a super cool, like veiny marble. I love, bold colors. Green is like my favorite color. I have green hair. So I like love doing green. You'll see that a lot in my work. But I also love like the organic feel of things where it's like natural textures and wood tones and like just, I'm very big on feeling wanting a home to feel warm and welcoming and cozy. Like I have 2 kids and my home is a disaster all the time. Like it's like what is that phrase about like the cobbler's kids, whatever, blah blah blah. That's me. Yeah. It still
Yeah,
feels warm and cozy,
for
or
sure.
that's
For
very
sure.
important to the aesthetic. Yeah.
Now, what do you think is the biggest source of sort of projects? Like, is it just word of mouth? Or are you like actively marketing? Like, how are you getting your name out?
It's always been Instagram, always from day one. Been Instagram. Like I always kind of knew the value
From fashion, obviously, right?
at
Fashion.
putting myself out there. Yeah, I mean, I'm a natural consumer too. So like I've always grew up when I was in college, that's when I'm aging myself right now, but when I was in college, that's when Facebook first started coming out. And so I've always kind of grown up like we had like AOL before that and like so I've always kind of grown up with this like social media and then obviously Instagram came out so like it was always exposed to me from a fairly young age. I mean not like kids now obviously, but it's been part of, my blood, I guess. So I was and I've always been a consumer myself too, naturally, definitely from fashion. And so I would always be on Instagram and like there were influencers that I followed and, stuff like that. And so I would see the power that they had over people and understand how they used their Instagram and their platform to get people to do what they wanted them to do or buy whatever they wanted them to buy. So I knew from very early on in my career, like I needed to get my face out there. I needed to introduce people to who I was, not just my business, not just Allison Handler design the business, like who Allison Handler is. So I would, post stories on Instagram all the time. I would put my kids on Instagram. I would have dance parties at my house and, just like getting to know me and my personality because I find that interior design, it's really such a personal relationship that you have with your clients and you're essentially working with them for a year plus, going over very intimate details of their life, spending a lot of money, a lot of time together. And they have to be able to feel comfortable with you and develop a rapport and a relationship with you. And that's important to me too. Like that's probably my favorite part about my job is the relationships that I have with, my clients, my vendors, my trades. So for me, Instagram has always been so integral in growing my business because I felt, and I always tell people this too when they ask, but I felt like if I put myself out there and people saw that I was like a human and a normal person, like they would feel less inhibited to like reach out to me and say, hey, even if it's just like, you know, can I ask you a question? I'm redoing my house and I would love your opinion. And like, I'll answer those questions, like if it's a question like, what's your favorite paint color or whatever, like I can answer that. That's fine. I'm a real person. And you never know like how that's going to spiral. It could be like maybe this person doesn't need an interior designer, but maybe their friend who's building a $3 million house next door does. And she's like, oh, you know what? You should follow this. So like that's really been kind of the evolution for me. And it's always has been Instagram. Oh,
Yeah.
I think
I know the photo and the combo of the video to be able to tell a story. And it's really interesting to be able to speak to a camera. It makes people feel like I know them. Oh, I know their voice. And like there's also that feeling like, especially I don't know if you've ever found this, but like clients that your best clients are the ones that consumed your most content. Have you found that? Right? It's like because they get you and they are working with you because they like
yeah.
know you and they want what you have, right?
Yeah, no, it's very true and it's funny. I mean, it's this weird thing when you put yourself out there on social media. Like it's this weird like you almost people like I get recognized sometimes. Like I'm at a tile store right now. I'm multi
Yeah. It's a nice background, by the way.
at Garden State Tile right now. Yeah, yeah, it is. But I walked in here and this there was some other like customer here and she was staring at me. Just this happened like half an hour ago. And I'm like, see her staring at me and I'm like, okay, like, do I have something on my face? Is there something in my teeth? Like, what's going on here? And like, I walked away for a second to take a phone call. And the girls that were there were like, she was like, I follow her on Instagram. Do you know who that is?
Yeah.
Like, and things like that happen. It's like funny. And it's almost like you put this like celebrity status, which like I am not. Like I am a very normal, weird, not
Yeah.
celebrity person, but like it is weird. I do get recognized and people will come up to me or they'll DM me and be like, oh my God, I just saw you at the grocery store. And I'm like, say hi, like, I'm not,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
it's like,
What are your best types of projects? What are your best types of projects?
I'm sorry. I mean, we specialize in construction. We do tons of renovation. We do tons of renovations, but we also do tons of new construction. I love both. And then obviously that turns into furnishing too. I mean, we pretty much only do full homes at this point. But I love new construction is easy because easy is not the right word, but it's different than renovations because you have the plans, you know what you're doing, you know what I mean? Renovations to me is like a different animal because you never know what you're going to find when you open up those walls and there are certain things that like you have to just go with, and that you have to be creative and
Yeah, with the new home, you're starting from scratch, right? So you get to like at least inject everything with the renovation you're looking at
right.
again, existing and then your taste, and then you got to match the new thing that you're renovating with what's existing there already. Yeah, it's
Exactly. Exactly. I'm about to actually start this really interesting project where we are in New Jersey. There's a lot of historical homes, and I'm about to start on a project that was literally built in the
is that a
1700s.
nightmare for you or is that like a
And we'll find out. We'll find out. But a lush ship that is original. So like every room has a fireplace. I mean, when the house was built, there was no heat, and all the floors are original, and they're like 12-inch wide
yeah.
planks, like gorgeous, gorgeous original wood floors. What's interesting is
Oh wow.
there's no subfloor underneath. So when you're standing on the first floor, you look up
Wow.
and see straight up into the
Yeah.
because the ceiling is exposed.
The little tracks.
Straight
Yeah.
in the wood.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. It's very interesting. So those types of things, they always present their challenges, of course, but that's
Wait, you said modern organic? Is that what your style with? Yeah, I could see that. So I mean,
yeah.
I know you've seen, I don't know if you've seen the show In with the Old or something like that. Yeah. So just Whenever I see a lot of like people taking old things, I was like, oh, that's nice. I don't know if I'm into, I mean, I live in an old home now and I know what it
Yeah.
takes to be able to like, you just got to gut everything as much as possible.
Yeah,
How
basically.
do you stay ahead and how do you stay, I mean, aside from like taking on these different projects, like what does personal development for Allison Handler look like? What does like, how do you stay professional and stay on top?
I mean, that's an interesting question. You know, always learning, always educating myself, always continuing to grow. Like, no matter how, many projects I have, or how much exposure I have, or how many magazines I'm in, or how many followers I have on Instagram, like, you always have to keep learning and growing and exposing yourself to new. And that is very important to me. It's like, if you feel like you know everything,
Yeah.
well, time to retire, you know? So, but, obviously going to trade shows, going to market, like, meeting new trades, exploring, like, that is very important to me. I have a team that I work with underneath me. I have 4 girls, and they're all much younger and cooler than I am. So they know, all the new software programs and, whatever, all the TikTok trends and all that stuff. So yeah, I mean, that's, just continuing to like expose yourself to new things and continue to learn. And obviously, like, everyone's always like, well, how do you get your inspiration? And it's like, obviously a million places. Like, we all get inspiration from Instagram, Pinterest, all of that. But like, I don't like, it's so much of it is just like in my head, I guess, it's like I see a tile and I'm like, that looks like it could be really cool. Or like you see a rug, for example, and I'm like, wait a minute, that could be a really cool tile pattern, or just like stuff like that, like it's just like always, it's always like
Yeah. Yeah.
random.
Yeah.
I see in a
What
moment. Yeah.
what does this year look like for you?
Wild, like absolutely wild. We are in the process right now of renovating a new office space for us. So that's, you know, really fun. They
Yeah.
are cool, but like exhausting. We have tons of, really awesome, exciting projects that we are either in the middle of or about to get started on. Um, and honestly, just like continuing to grow. And that's what I love about what we do is like, I have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow. No idea. And I love that. I love the unexpected, like, the unknown. It's a
For sure.
wild
How
ride.
did you
I
know
love it.
what because you had not sort of been in the business before. Like how did you know who to hire and the team to build around you?
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty easy for me because I am not a technically trained designer. I don't do CAD drawings. I don't do renderings. I don't do any of that. So I knew immediately I needed to bring somebody on that did, you know? So that was my
Wow.
first, second, and third hire. So I have a full team of designers because I'm more of like, you know, the head creative, client facing, manage all the business stuff, all the PR, marketing, all of that, sales, I handle all of that. Obviously I do sourcing, but I, yeah, I don't, like I said, I don't do any drawings. And that's such an important part of our business and what we need to be able to provide our clients and our builders with. So that is, I have a very strong team of
For sure.
actual
And
realistic.
technically, so they can take what's in your head and the measurements and create, you know. Is there a
Exactly.
particular part of the process that you like more than others?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I said, I love the relationship aspect of it. I love the relationships that I build with my clients. I love the relationships I have with my vendors and my trades. Like, I'm extremely loyal. So when I find a trade that I like working with and they make my life easier, they get all my business. Same with my GCs. Like, when I have a couple of GCs that are like the only GCs I want to work with because they just get it and we have such a great relationship. So such great communication. Yeah, so important. So that's definitely a big part of it. And obviously, like, I love the creative side, and I love being able to create and build these gorgeous, beautiful dream homes for people, and seeing, it's always just so cool
Yeah.
seeing what was in your brain actually,
For sure. For
show up
sure.
there in the world.
On your
So,
on your website, looking at your projects really quick, is there a project that you just kind of quickly talk us through that you love that that you're particularly proud of?
I mean, you can't make me
Or your most
a
recent?
favorite.
Most recent.
Yeah, let's look.
Yeah, I'm in your
So are
process.
you
Yeah,
in
yeah.
projects right now? Are you looking? So let's talk
Oh
about
yeah,
the kit.
I'm on that. Yeah. That happens to be the one that I
Yes,
clicked on.
that
Yeah.
was an amazing project. Okay, perfect. That actually, we're about to do a series on Instagram on that project starting this week. So that project was so fun and so amazing. And again, like it all started with the clients. Like they are so special.
Could you just walk us through from like beginning to end, just the process? Because I mean, on a side note, what I would love to do is to like actually create, like use your words and use the pictures and create a reel and then just give it to you and then like put it onto our podcast. But like I would love, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, sure. So, I was contacted by these clients, I think it was October of 23, and they were retired. They had just sold their home that they raised their kids in. They were moving to a townhome, and so they were downsizing, but they needed some renovations. They wanted it to be beautiful, and as they put it,
Yeah.
they're dying in this house, so it better be good. We met and we just clicked right away, and they wanted everything to feel like warm and cozy and fun too, obviously, and um like they wanted the wow factor. So the way that this all came about was the original scope of work for this project was we were kind of giving the kitchen a little bit of a facelift. We were redoing the powder room. And then we were furnishing basically the whole house. So I go to the house and I'm like, I see everything and I'm like, we need to do this bathroom. I'm like, we're not spending all this money with the master bathroom, primary bathroom. I'm like, we're not spending all this money on everything else and like leaving this primary like this. The primary needs to be done. And so I was talking to the husband and wife, and she was like, I don't want to spend the money. And the husband goes, let the kid do the bathroom. The kid. So that's where we came up with the name, Let the Kid Design. So over the course of like a year, I just developed such a special relationship with these people. And we really just created something so special. And from, that, gorgeous, serene, neutral dining room, which I'm obsessed
Actually,
with.
could you talk about the vanity in the bathroom? Yeah, that's
Yeah, the master. Yeah, so when we decided to do the bathroom, obviously we got renovated the whole thing, and we were trying to figure out, like, we knew we wanted this, like, warm textural, whatever. So that's where we ended up with the fluted wood for the vanity. And for the mirrors, we were trying to figure out, we were like, okay, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? We went to go look at countertops at Stone, and we ended up falling in love with this gorgeous Cristallo quartzite slab. Cristallo quartzite is very expensive, but it's a translucent stone. So if you shine a light underneath it, you can see through. So we were like, well, what are we going to do for the mirrors? What are we going to do for everything? So I don't know how I even thought about it, but I came up with this crazy idea. I was like, all right, well, instead of doing LED mirrors, like what if we make something custom, LED strip in the wall and wrap that with Cristallo quartzite, and you light it up and the mirror glows. And I talked to my contractor about it, and he was like, yeah, we could do that. So I just had this crazy silly idea in my head, no idea how it was going to be executed. That's not my problem, that's his problem. But he, again, like, that goes back to what a great partnership I have with him. But he figured it out and he executed it, and it's a wow. Even when the light is turned off and you just see the stone wrapped mirror, it's gorgeous. I mean, that in combination with like the plaster on the walls and the wood tone of the vanity, and
What about that dining?
it's just so
The dining?
special. The dining table, which one?
No, the one in the with the
Yeah, so the dining room, I wanted it to be neutral and calm, but feeling like luxe. So we ended up going with like a white oak dining table. So dining table has travertine legs, which is gorgeous.
Okay.
No, not custom.
Yeah.
I mean, it's expensive, but not custom. We do custom a lot, but in this case we didn't need to. I was able to find it from a vendor that I work with. And then that gorgeous chandelier.
Absolutely, yeah.
I'm obsessed.
I think I'm drawn to the furniture. I mean, and how it cares and how
The furniture is gorgeous.
like
Yeah, I mean, those black and white chairs in the sitting room, like the boldness against like the boldness of
in the living room with
the
that
in the
yeah,
sitting room.
it's
Yeah,
really
black and
cool.
white chair.
That's awesome. How long did this take?
Start to
That's
finish, it
awesome.
took about a year.
Cool. That's beautiful. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a really beautiful one. All right, so this is a part of podcast where we help sort of brainstorm anything to help your design business. Is there anything that you need help with, or any sort of thing that you've been keeping you up that could help you grow your business?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's always about managing growth and like how do I keep up? Like my business is continuing to grow, knock on wood. I'm so lucky and blessed and like, we're so grateful for that. But it's just like, how do you continue to manage it? And like are there better systems that I'm not using? Are there programs that I should be investing in? All of that stuff I don't know. And that's something that always
Yeah, you know what? I was actually going to ask you, how are you managing projects and client communication?
like
Yeah,
as far
yeah,
as
yeah. Let's
what
talk.
programs do I use? Yeah, so we use a combination of obviously all the drawing programs, so AutoCAD and all of that stuff, and Revit, not Revit, Enscape. And then I use Studio Designer, I use Dubsado, and then I do all my
Okay.
invoicing.
And then, but where do you share designs with clients and then get feedback?
Oh, well, we'll typically, so we put our design
Yeah.
presentations together in Canva like everybody does. And then, but we'll do in-person presentations, obviously, with, fabrics and all of that stuff. And then the rest of the
Your
communication
phone and texting, right?
here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Do you,
yep.
a question is, where do you feel the biggest bottleneck in terms of growth?
It's always like how many people, like, it's like this constant question that I would imagine all, CEOs, business owners have, but it's like
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
have a team
Yeah.
that you pay to do a job, and hiring more people should mean you should be able to be bringing on more projects, but it just continuously seems like we're just all
Yeah.
so busy and
Yeah.
overwhelmed.
Yeah, so one thing that could potentially help you is looking looking at the team in terms of, because right now you said you have a lot of designers on your team, because that helps like take your brain not on the design so that you could continue other parts of your business. And so like looking at breaking down your position in terms of the different chunks that are taking the most time, and whether it is, whether it's the marketing or the client relationships, or like what is the area that you could do. But the real answer that I was saying is like, give everybody like a scorecard and a KPI, right? So like, what does success look like in each position within the company, and like what does the company look like now, and where do you think you'd like to be in like a year or two from now, especially if you're going to get a new office space? Like, what does that look like? Because now, because I literally just did this with somebody on my team, where I was like, you know what, I'm getting a lot of leads for my design business. I need to have somebody to just help qualify them as best as possible. Because when you get like 10 inquiries, you're like, oh my God, this is great. And then you have spent hours just like with the little things. And you're like, you know what? I wish I could just talk to somebody and it would just be a yes right now. Right. So breaking those things down and breaking them down into like, okay, what does success look like in this position? Because the thing that I'm super curious about is like, how do you take what's in a client's head and them understanding your process, and then like fast tracking it as much as possible? Because it seems like there's just like a lot of time, right? And you're not, like, you're getting paid for it, but you're not
Yeah,
always getting paid for it, right?
definitely not.
So
Definitely not. Yeah, no, I mean, that's a big struggle. It's like what qualifies, obviously I know what qualifies as a billable hour, but all the texting and stuff that you end up doing with clients, like, am
yeah,
they tracking every
yeah,
text
yeah,
message I
yeah.
send? No, of course not.
So for me, I think a lot about like how do you work, how do you build something that you're only working, what I call is like your 20%, right? Like the 20%, that the 80/20 rule, right? 80% of your outcomes are dictated by 20% of your actions. And so like, if you could figure out what your 20% is and literally build job descriptions for the 80%, so that you can only stay focused on the 20%, like that would be probably the highest value of your time, right? So if you were to deal with like
Yeah.
four multi-million-dollar projects and clients at a time, and all of the admin stuff we're taking care of and all of the extra things, because there's probably a lot of things that you are doing that you probably shouldn't. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm doing a lot of admin stuff for sure.
Do you have an assistant? That's what I would get first. That's honestly what I would. Yeah, a personal assistant. That's what I would.
Assistant.
Yeah.
Who can manage my life. My
Yeah,
business I can handle.
that's what I would do first. Find somebody that somebody told you that already. Yeah,
I've been thinking about it.
yeah. This is your sign.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff there's a lot like you're a high level, high functioning person. Like you just need somebody else to help like carry the bags.
I know. And just be like, Allison, you need to
Yes.
be here
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, for sure.
Now,
For sure.
you know.
Was that helpful? Awesome. Awesome. Tell everybody your website, your Instagram so they can follow your work.
My Instagram is at Allison Handler Design, and my website is AllisonHandlerDesign.com.
Awesome.
Thank
All right.
you.
Talk to you soon.
Super
Bye.
fun. Okay. Bye.